Good afternoon. This is Angelo Birch with the president of the IMA, the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance, and we're going to be talking with Elder Blake, who was elected back in May for a 3-year term. And Elder Blake, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Birch. My name is James Blake, and I currently serve as the president of the IMA of Durham and vicinity. Again, as you said, elected back in May of this year to a 3-year term. I am a native of Durham. I left Durham to attend the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, came back to Durham, and am now the pastor of the Guiding Light United Holy Church in Graham, North Carolina. I've been a member of the IMA for, I would say, somewhere around 7 or 8 years, and have been actively participating in the IMA for that period of time. I certainly am honored that the membership would choose me as its president, and look forward to the next 3 years and doing some great things in the city of Durham.
And that's going to take us into our conversation, and it's going to be a lot of allowing Elder Blake to give his vision, more so just a question and answer session. And so I'm going to say off the bat, forgive me for not giving all my introduction, because I think we really want to focus on Elder Blake and what he wants to do at this point. So, Elder, I'll start off, Mr. President. Just tell us what is the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance? For those that don't know it, they hear the acronym IMA. And so, Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance of Durham and vicinity. But really, in your words, what is the IMA?
Well, the IMA is a group of ministers, be that licensed and ordained ministers and pastors, who are concerned about the plight of Durham, the things that are going on in the city of Durham, and coming together to collectively dialogue about how we can find solutions to possible problems going on in the city of Durham, whether that be as it relates to law enforcement, whether it's education, whether it is some system suspensions in schools, any of those things. We like to kind of spearhead within the community some dialogue between leaders as well as ourselves to say, here are the concerns that we see in our congregations, and we want those addressed on a more citywide level, not just my church or your church, but when we come together, we want to put all the issues on the table, see what comes to the top, and then go to those groups of people and say, here's a concern, we have this concern, and collectively have our voices heard by those who may be able to work out solutions to those problems.
So when you talk about these different churches, again, going back interdenominational, so not just your Baptists, not just your Methodists, everybody's open, because, you have World Overcomers with Pastor Andy,
yes.
And the churches, Christian churches, Christian faith.
Yes,
so everyone is
invited to come and join the IMA. That's why we stress interdenominational. Interdenominational, inclusive of non-denominational. As you can see, I'm United Holy Church of America, so I'm not Baptist, but we have a large Baptist presence, but that's only because more of the Baptist preachers come to the meetings.
Right.
But everyone is included, and we want everyone to come out and share your perspective, because this is not necessarily where we come together and have a lot of theological debate about who's right, who's wrong, who does this, who doesn't do this. That's not, we're looking at what is going on in our community, and how is it that we as spiritual leaders can affect change in our community. We want to be a voice for those who may not be heard by other people. We can hear them in our churches. We can translate that to leaders. And if they are attentive to what we're saying, then we can have effective change in Durham.
Great. So when they come in, say for instance, okay, I'm sitting here, I'm an ordained minister, want to join, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I, because, you're going to be meeting, where are you going to meet?
All right. Well, we meet each Monday at 12 noon at the Mount Vernon Baptist Church. That's on Roxborough Street, corner of Roxborough. But we're also looking for those, as you say, as an ordained minister. We're looking for you to have a recommendation from your pastor, because again, we want to make sure that your pastor knows what you're doing as an associate minister. And I know people really are kind of leery of that sometimes, because they say, I was called. But when we're talking about structure, it is important for any associate minister to know that he or she has a responsibility to their pastor, to be accountable to their pastor for what they're doing out in the community. So we subscribe to, you should have a pastoral recommendation when you come. And you need to make sure you bring with you whatever credentials that you have that will be reviewed before you actually gain membership in the IMA. And there is a fee of $25 that we are collecting for membership in the IMA.
That a month, a year?
That is an annual fee of $25 for membership in the IMA.
Okay. So Mondays, I just need to show up, come to the meetings, and pay my $25?
That has been traditionally what we have done. One of the things I want to implement during this tenure as president, we have a lot of subcommittees that we have that are working on various things in the community. And there are some people who may not be able to come at 12 noon on Monday to share with us in meetings on Monday, but they may be available to work on some of the subcommittees who may be meeting in the afternoons or at night. And if you are not able to attend a 12 o'clock meeting on Monday, you can come, join a subcommittee, be active in that subcommittee, and you are still considered an active member of the IMA. So we want to explore that to make sure that we have, one, a committee that really is a committee.
Right.
And then we have people who, again, who may not be able to adjust their schedule on every Monday to attend the meeting, but they are and want to be a part of the IMA, then they can come and share in one of the committees and still be an active member of the IMA.
Okay. Now, there are programs or services, we want to say program services, that the IMA puts on. Emancipation, Citywide Revival, Seven Last Sayings. Give us a little history on that and what that does, how you want the community to be involved with these services.
These have been staples for the IMA. These are the big three that we put on. The Emancipation Service is January 1st of every year at 11 o'clock a.m. Traditionally, in the last years, we've had those services at Peace Missionary Baptist Church, and that's where it will be this year. So January 1st, 2016, we will be at Peace Missionary Baptist Church, 11 a.m. for the IMA Emancipation Service. We're looking for the community to come out and support us, and not just because we're having a service, but because we want to present a historical approach to where have we come from. Many churches have a New Year's Eve night service, or some call it a watch night service, and then on Freedom Day, January 1st, we can have an emancipation service that celebrates the fact that the African American in this country is now free. And so we want people to understand that history. Don't ever forget that, because if we forget where we've been, we are doomed to go back there. And so we're looking at that. And then following that, we have the Citywide Revival, which is an opportunity for the community as a whole to come out and be infused with some energy as we start this new year. We're looking at it from a very spiritual point of view. We had an awesome time at our Citywide Revival last year at Union Baptist Church, and all of that was because our community came out. They came out in large numbers to support that, and we believe that if you would do the same thing this year, we would have an even greater Citywide Revival. We're looking at this to be a benefit to the city of Durham, because anything that we can do to uplift people's spirits, we feel like that is going to be helpful to our city and helpful to us as a group.
Okay. Your seven last sayings. Seven last
sayings of Jesus on the cross. And again, very, very important to the IMA. This is an opportunity for, oftentimes, it's associate ministers that are preaching during the 7 last sayings, and you're coming out, and there are 7 distinct sayings that Jesus says on the cross, and each one is assigned a block of time and a subject to present to us at the 7 last sayings. Again, centered around Easter and the resurrection and issues. The Good Friday is when we have that service, usually beginning at noon, usually lasting to about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And again, we need our community to come out and support these things, because these are staples in the church, in the African American church. These are staples, and we are looking for our community to come out and support us in those ventures.
Okay. I want to say, because a lot of people and those that will be looking at this, that it's just not black ministers. Just
Absolutely.
like so it's not,
Absolutely.
Race doesn't play a part in it.
Race does not matter, not race nor gender.
Okay.
We are open to women. We are open to anyone who is non-black. We are open to everyone. We value everyone's position as a minister. And so we want you to come and share with us, because the more input we have, the better informed we are, the better we are at addressing the needs of our community. Everyone has to represent, because otherwise you can't say they don't represent what I do if you are not willing to be a part of the IMA. So come be a part of the IMA. If you want the IMA to be more expansive than Baptist, then come as a Methodist or an Episcopalian or United Holy Church or Church of God in Christ. Come and share with us and give us your perspective of what is going on in the community, how this is affecting your individual church, your denomination, whatever it may be, because we value that in the IMA.
Now, being in the IMA and being, you were vice president, and even when you were a member, I'm sure you heard a lot of talk in the community, or people's ideal as to what the IMA is or should be. Mm-hmm. Can you speak to those issues?
Sure. There's some people who look at the IMA and view it as just a fellowship. We just come together, we talk a little bit, we eat a little bit, and we're not really doing anything. I want to dispel that myth, because we do a lot of work for the community. There are a lot of causes that we champion, that we stand out in the front and say, here's an issue, it needs to be addressed. And even when we're not standing out in the foreground screaming this, we are working behind the scenes, having important meetings with key people to make sure that they understand that you just can't do certain things, because we're saying, no, we're looking, we see this, we are not going to allow this to happen. Again, a lot of things happen that people don't see. The effects of those things are great, and we're looking for this year to really define the IMA as a group of preachers who are really concerned about our community, especially our children, especially about the education of our children, because if we don't invest there, 10 years from now, we will be sorry that we did not make that investment. Our school systems, the value of the education that our children are getting, even the activities that our children participate in, we have to make sure that we are providing something and we're supporting those things that we provide.
Okay. So I've noticed that in some of the programs, when offering is taken up, a lot of things come down to money.
Yes.
And when so people hear you say, well, we give to this and we give to that, what constitutes, or how does that work? If I have something, I want to help some children out, can I come to the IMA? What happens with that?
Well, depending, I've been told, and I've read through our Constitution, and usually it is at the discretion of the president to determine what things we support in any given year. So often the cause that is closest to the heart of the president is usually the thing that usually gets supported. But that doesn't mean that no one can solicit or ask for support from the IMA. Anyone can send a request to the IMA. Hopefully we'll be able to have a link on our website where you can go to our website and click on and fill out, and that will be submitted that way. Otherwise, you would have to send it to the address that is on our website. It is a P.O. box, and you would send that request to the P.O. box. We will evaluate that request, and we're not going to be able to meet everyone's request, but we will meet some. Okay.
And since President has given that, let me say the address, P.O. Box 263, Durham, North Carolina 27701. Of course, address it to the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so these things that the community wants to know, I think a lot of times even ministers, can you point to the fact that, or speak to the fact that the IMA is the only organization where you have to be a licensed or ordained? So, just as a layperson, I can't just come up and walk in and join the IMA just because my membership is at Guiding Light or New Hope. So,
exactly. That is one of the unique things about the IMA, is that each member of the IMA is a licensed and or ordained minister of the gospel. We do not have laity as a part of the IMA. There are segments of our IMA meeting that will be open to the public. It is usually for community concerns, and it's at the beginning of a meeting. So if you have a concern that you would like the IMA to hear, then they need to, again, they can go to the website and they can contact the secretary, which would be you, sharing information with you concerning what it is that they want to talk about, the length of time, because that is usually specified that they have a couple of minutes, I think a maximum of 3 minutes, to present what it is that they want us to know. If there's any literature that they would want to leave with us, we need to have that literature in advance so that we know exactly what is going to be passed out at our meetings. But we are a organization of ministers, and we don't apologize for that, because we understand that there are some issues that are unique to ministers, and we need to have an environment where we can speak about those things openly without the eyes of the laity.
Gotcha. Understanding. Also, now, you spoke to all of this stuff, your vision for the IMA.
Yes, sir.
What does that consist of? How does that look?
That's a good question. Because generally, I'm a visionary person. And so for me, there are markers that I would like to have over the course of 3 years that shows that we are moving progressively. One of the things, again, that I am really looking forward to doing in this first year is really give a real big push to the quality of education in the city of Durham. We have recently had discussion with our Durham Public School Board concerning the failing schools that we have, or some failing schools that we have in Durham. And we want to challenge the school board as to how are we going to correct this? How are we going to make this better for our kids? Because if we don't, then we're doing our children a disservice. So it is important to me that we really stand up and say education is key. It is key to it's a key to success in the future. And we need to be making sure that our school systems adequately serve our students. We have a very dense population of African Americans in our school systems. We have Hispanics. We have a lot of other groups of people who are in our school systems. We need to make sure that they are being served and they're getting the best education that our tax dollars can give them. And so that is a principal issue for me. But there are auxiliary issues that we will also be discussing and working towards, be that something political or something social. We are open to look at what is going on current events, and having a stand on whatever is going on in our community at this present time. So our vision is really to really take a real stand for education, looking at education as a key to success for our children.
Committees, you mentioned those. What are some of the committees that you have, if not all of them, just a few of the...
There are quite a few, and probably those that most people are aware of is like our Political Action Committee. Of course, you know, we as an IMA, we do not endorse political candidates, but we do listen to the political candidates. They have the opportunity to come before us and present to us their platform, and we listen to them, we can question them, and any of those things that will help our community, because we need to know who is running, and if asked the question, we may be able to offer some insight to someone as to who this person is, what they're about. Again, we don't endorse candidates, but we do have a political action committee that is spearheading any of the things, any of the elections that are going on. And it's helpful to people to know what requirements they have for voting, registration, souls to the polls, all those kind of things are a part of the political action committee. We also have a social action committee. So again, those to me are very closely tied, because political, social. Sometimes they're doing this, but we do have a political action and a social action committee. We also have a media publicity committee, as well as having a person who is responsible for current events and knowing what is going on in the city of Durham, what things are coming down the pike. So those are things that are going on. We have a program committee. The program committee is responsible for making sure all the programming for those three events that we have talked about previously, making sure all the details for those things are done. Media publicity is making sure that we're advertising, getting the word out to the community. So again, as people are listening to this, go to our website. Look at our website. It will tell you events that we are planning, things that we're trying to do in the community, even if there are additional meetings or if there are things that we are invited to. Those things we can find on our calendar. So let's go to our website, take a look at those things, and you'll be more informed about what the IMA is doing.
Very good. Also, you mentioned your programs. There's one coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your installation service, well, not you're the officer. Yeah, the installation of officers.
Yes,
so
sir.
Talk to that. Who's going to be coming?
So we're very excited about the installation service, and I'm really excited because it's an opportunity. When asked who would I like to have as a speaker for the installation service, I'm very happy to say that my Bishop Greg Hargrave of Gospel Tabernacle United Holy Church in Burlington, North Carolina, will be our guest speaker for the installation service that is going to be held at Emmanuel AME Church on Riddle Road.
Reverend Anita Thompson.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're looking forward to that. Again, one of the things that we want to do in our quest to be more inclusive is not necessarily continue to go to the same pond we've always gone to as far as having services. So Emmanuel is a new place for us to have a service. And I met with Reverend Thompson, Pastor Thompson, a week or so ago, and I am looking so forward to being in worship service with her. She's a wonderful woman of God, I believe a great preacher, and she is doing great things at Emmanuel. So we're looking forward to the fellowship and looking forward to her joining the IMA, as she said that she would. So we're looking forward to a great time. It is again on September the 27th, 4:00 p.m. at Emmanuel AME Church on Riddle Road. So come out and join us in that service.
Now, I think we've about covered all of that, but one thing you just did, and I liked it, excuse me, and that is the fact that when you spoke about Reverend Thompson, I know a lot of people look at the IMA or they look at ministers and they think we just all have our little pot that, you know, we don't get outside of this.
Right.
How does the IMA address that we are inclusive? Or how do you see us addressing it?
Well, I think we're going to have to be intentional about being inclusive, because there is the thought from people that we are a group of men
Okay.
who are coming together, and even Baptist men
Okay.
who are coming together. And we have to dispel that. I think even electing a president who is not Baptist speaks to our inclusion. As I said, Bishop Hargrave is coming to preach, but also my bishop, who is the bishop of the Western North Carolina District, Bishop Elroy Lewis, is also a member of the IMA. There are other members of the United Holy Church who are part of the IMA. There are Methodist preachers who are part of the IMA. And so we just have to do, I think, a better job of just saying to people, no, it is inclusive of everyone. Everyone can come, but we can't determine who does come.
Okay.
Only those who are listening to this can determine whether or not they're going to come. I will tell you that there is something for everyone at the IMA. So if you would come, bring your flavor to the IMA, then we have this great soup that we can have that is called the IMA. If you would come and bring what you bring, uniquely you, come to the IMA, and there is a home for you at the IMA.
So in that context as well, so as you know, the women can come.
Yes.
Because you have a lot of female preachers and pastors
Yes.
that may feel isolated or pushed aside.
Yes.
So it's all open.
Everyone is invited to come, and everyone is an equal. Everyone has a place in the IMA. Again, it is not race, it's not gender. Everyone who is called of God to deliver this word to people, we are inviting all of you to come and join us in the IMA. And when we have that diversity, it makes us stronger. And so we're looking to strengthen the IMA. And the only way we're going to strengthen the IMA is if we can get other people, other denominations, other groups to come and join the IMA. That is our goal. Our goal is to make sure that everyone knows that there is a place for them in the IMA. Now, you have to take advantage of that. You can't say that we didn't invite you. We're inviting you. We want you to come. We want you to come and share with us. It is a storied organization. It has been in existence a long time, has done a lot of work in the community. I believe the community looks favorably at the IMA, and I believe that if we would get other people, again, if people are thinking it's a Baptist organization, it's not. It is a minister's organization. I think it is really important for anyone to know that the IMA is here to serve those in the Durham community, the Durham area and vicinity. We are here to help you to have a voice in the community.